Welcome to the show. If you've gone to a traditional brick and mortar retail store, chances are you've been faced with an involuntary sales tax on your purchases. But in some cases in Maryland, you can avoid sales tax by shopping online. Well, at least that was the case. There's new legislation in Maryland that aims to change that. Henry, do you think that online retailers should be responsible for collecting and paying sales tax the same as brick and mortar companies do?
Well, I think it would be a challenge for online retailers to be able to collect the sales tax in the same way as brick and mortar stores do. Because there's a plethora of online retailers. Amazon currently charges sales tax if you order something from Amazon that ships from Maryland. If you order something from Amazon that ships from a different state, they don't. I think that's a little hinky there, but at the same point, as a responsible taxpayer in Maryland, we're obligated that we can report our sales to Maryland and pay the sales tax ourselves. So I don't really think the mechanism is there.
Wait a minute, you're saying as an individual, you can say, I bought something from Amazon, Maryland, here's my 6%?
Certainly. Wouldn't you be willing to do that?
No.
Okay. Maybe Ron would.
Ron?
I'm a firm believer. I buy a lot of things online, and I don't see any problem if I hit a button and it says Maryland, that I pay the 6% Maryland tax. I think it's a fair thing. I think it's something should be done. I can't see unfair advantage given to an online sale. The online sale can be cheaper anyway.
Right.
Okay? Forget the tax.
Right.
The tax is just the added burden.
Right.
So does it create a problem? I don't think it does.
And I'm gonna second what you say, Ron, because let me tell you something. If I do work in West Virginia or Pennsylvania, if I go across the line and do it in their state, I am obligated to collect and pay sales tax based on what I have done in their sales tax laws. And the problem is that the sales tax laws across this country are vastly different.
Yes.
And Maryland has its own set of unique qualities, like what labor is taxable and what labor is not. So there's plenty of problems. And if you get into North Carolina, by the way, it's on a county by county basis. But I agree with you. I think it's an unfair advantage to the online retailers. I think that, at some level, we as Marylanders that are, not the top 10% are going to benefit, because guess what? That's money that they're not going to come back and want us to pay, because it's going to be additional money into the till. And if either of you two are among that top 10%, I apologize for insulting you.
Well, Henry is, but...
Well, no. But, I mean, the problem is I don't know if Maryland has the mechanism to set up that many tax collection sources.
It's not Maryland's responsibility. It's the business's responsibility. If Maryland says you have to collect and pay taxes in Maryland, then it is the business's responsibility, be that Amazon or eBay or whomever, to collect and pay the sales tax to the state of Maryland.
And if you're Sally's pet shop that sells dog biscuits online, and you don't really realize that there is a potential that you have a sales tax consequence in Maryland,
then woe be to Sally.
Okay.
And if you buy that Amazon book from Amazon,
right,
and that Amazon is in Baltimore City, and they send it out, you pay the tax.
Exactly.
But I just bought a book, I got it today. It didn't come from there.
And you didn't pay a tax.
And I didn't pay a tax.
Right.
Now, I don't think that's right.
I'm all for lower taxes. I am all for eliminating as many taxes as possible. But I think this is one area where, again, the online retailers have an additional, in my opinion, advantage. Amazon.com, and that's one of them that we talked about. I mean, first of all, you can buy almost anything there. I bought a part for my washing machine this past weekend. So there's an advantage. These online retailers have lower prices in many cases. There's an advantage. Do we want to then incent them with, in Maryland's case, 6% of an additional advantage because they don't have to collect sales tax? What does that do to Sally's whatever business you said?
At the same point, there's certain items that used to be available at Best Buy or Walmart or wherever. They're no longer carrying it because there's not a need. They can't be price competitive, because if I walked into Best Buy and I wanted the special camera tripod that shows it's available on Best Buy online,
Right.
But you have to wait. Well,
Right.
if I can order from Best Buy online or I can order from Amazon and it's $10 cheaper from Amazon, I'm going to order from Amazon.
Understood.
If it ships from the Maryland warehouse, I'll pay sales tax on it. If it ships from the Pennsylvania warehouse, oddly, I don't pay any sales tax on it.
And my point is, number one, in my mind, that's more of an administrative nightmare than it is if you just charge sales tax on everything. You know, that's the argument I've had on the labor side on Maryland. The Maryland labor sales tax is so convoluted
Yes.
that it's just crazy. So why don't you level the playing field? You know, and you know, Democrats should love this because it's a new tax. Republicans should love it because it levels the playing field. And realistically, to the average Joe consumer, I think this is an advantage.
What
long-term.
what if we did a municipality tax, so based upon the shipping origin, wherever that tax is, then gets remitted to whatever state that product is shipped to?
Why would you want to do that? That you know, think about the number of municipalities, Ron.
Well, you have non-incorporated municipalities in Washington
In Washington County.
And
how many counties in Maryland?
You have 23 in
Right.
Baltimore City.
Right. So 24 times.
But in Maryland, we really have a 6% sales tax rate
Across the board.
across the board.
Right.
So it wouldn't be convoluted, unlike what you were saying about North Carolina, where each
Each county is
county
separate.
may have a different tax rate.
Well, since we're dealing with Maryland and it's relatively easy, I think as the proposed legislation goes forward, I don't see any, and I don't even know who submitted the bill.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that either.
I'm not sure who submitted, but I would look at it from an objective point of view of how it's revenue we're losing.
Right. But again, you know, I would argue that we're going to pay that regardless. Either Amazon's going to collect it, and I keep saying Amazon. I don't
Right.
mean, either an online retailer is going to collect it and send it to Maryland, or Maryland's going to tax us directly for the 6% that they lost because the online retailers aren't charging sales tax. So one way or the other, I'm going to foot the bill, right?
Henry, do you buy much online?
I buy quite a bit online. I do a lot of my Christmas shopping online because it's simple. I can sit in front of my computer and click. As for my business, when my business is making purchases online, I have to filter through my receipts to see whether I have paid sales tax on an item or I haven't paid sales tax on an item.
Right.
And then I have to determine, is that item part of an assembly
Right.
versus is that item an item for resale?
A sales tax or use tax.
Exactly.
Right.
But you do pay sales tax on a lot of things.
Yes.
So all
And I'm not-
sellers on you know, on the internet, they do charge a tax.
Okay, we've got about 15 seconds left. Henry, you think it's going to pass or fail in the legislature?
It's a tax, it will pass.
Ron?
If it's a tax, it'll pay us.
I agree with you, and we're going to have the last word on that. Up next, our panel takes a closer look at in-state tuition for non-Maryland residents. We're back in 3 minutes. We hope you'll stay with us.